What's up, everyone? I'm Tam, and thank you for watching my YouTube channel. Please subscribe because it's difficult to find. So if you lose my channel, you may never find it again. So today we're going to talk about the very controversial pretty privilege, which is exploding in some cultures. And it's really always been a thing, but it's being pushed to the forefront. And I want to talk about it as it relates to narcissism. Are people with pretty privilege more prone to narcissism? And are the people who attack people with so-called pretty privilege, are those people narcissist? I think it's worth taking a look at. So, how do we define what pretty privilege is? Wikipedia defines it as body privilege or pretty privilege, a concept used to examine the economic, social, and political advantages or benefits that are made to both men and women solely based on their physical appearance. So the same can be said for the culture that you're born in. If you're wealthy, you have money, there are biases and privileges that you get based on economic status. There's so many different things. But for time's sake, let's focus on pretty privilege. I found something by Cora that said that extremely attractive people are less than 1% of the population, and good looking people lies between 7 to 8% of the population who are naturally pretty without any plastic surgery and treatment. We can make an argument against or for that statement and say, where are they getting that from? How can we judge beauty? It's in the eye of the beholder. But there are certain people that most people see as beautiful or handsome. You can look at a variety of cultures and see somebody that just stands out. There's something about them that's beautiful or attractive. And then there are things within cultures that outside of the culture you probably won't even notice or pay attention to. And within that culture, whether it's skin color, the texture of your hair, your height, blonde hair, blue eyes. I grew up learning that is maybe a rarity to be born with those traits. So it's considered something that people secretly would like to have, although it's difficult to talk about. In the Black community, hair texture, skin color, those all play a factor in whether or not you have pretty privilege or not. And the crux of my channel is about narcissism and personality disorders, at least on one of my channels. That's the focus, that's the main focus. And so I just want to know, does that bring out the ugly in people, the narcissistic traits? Because I've seen people who, quote unquote, do not have pretty privilege go after people who do so harshly. They attack them, they put them down, they isolate them. They don't want to have anything to do with them. They want to leave them out. They want to make them feel bad for being pretty. So I'm going to do everything I can to make you feel weak or to disrespect you or to make people not like you. That's a form of narcissism, in my opinion, because there's a deep-seated, what is it about you that makes you so angry about the way someone looks that you attack them? I think everybody is accountable for how they behave towards others, whether you think they're pretty or not. There are certain settings that you can go into, and it doesn't matter whether the people are stereotypically pretty privileged, and they don't attack the pretty privileged people, if that makes sense. They're still kind to them. They will tell them, "You're so pretty. Oh, I like how you're dressed." They're not like that. They're not in that group of let's attack the pretty privileged people. They just are kind-hearted, nice people. They have good self-esteem. They see their own unique and wonderful qualities and talents, and they enjoy what they're doing. They have found their purpose in life, and they don't have a need to go after pretty privileged people like some people do. There are videos where on YouTube where there are people who attack people who they deem pretty privileged. Like in the Black community, some people will say that a light-skinned person with long hair is getting better treatment than someone who is darker skinned. We are all born unequal. We all have different talents and gifts and privileges. So the perception of pretty privilege causes individuals to judge that people who are beautiful and handsome will have a better chance of getting attention and work. This condition is generally referred to as beauty privilege, and it's also known as physical attractiveness, and that is defined by atlantispress.com. People with pretty privilege who are considered handsome or beautiful are perceived as smarter, funnier, more sociable, healthier, and successful. They have advantages with employment, and it is considered advantageous, which can bring out the jealousy and envy in certain people who feel like they are not benefiting from that. I say pretty privilege has its woes, it has its benefits, and it has its woes. Yes, people who are deemed more attractive may get more attention. They may have more people who are attracted to them. Being attractive or deemed pretty or gorgeous or handsome, it feels good. Who doesn't want to be pretty or beautiful or attractive? It feels good to get attention from the opposite sex or from people saying, wow, you're so pretty. What's interesting is I also read a study that said that people who are prettier or more handsome, they get less compliments than people who are not as attractive. And you can ask people with pretty privilege, they don't necessarily get told verbally how good they look. And then there will be somebody who's deemed less attractive that, oh, you look at your hair, it looks so good, or I like that outfit that you have on. I think people automatically assume that people with pretty privilege are hearing it all the time, when the fact is they're probably not hearing it very much. Now, on the flip side of that, they may have more people who want to take them out, but then there are people who are going to be intimidated by that or feel like, well, I don't have a chance with that person. So they may not get approached as much because people feel like, well, I'm out of that person's league, or I feel some intimidation. So it works both ways. I think people with pretty privilege can also be attacked more, be disregarded also and dismissed and pushed aside, and I'm not talking to you. Or people with pretty privilege may not understand why they're getting mistreated so much. And it's because their attractiveness is working against them. It is something that people also look down on. And I know some of the things that I'm saying are controversial, and some things I'm saying you may totally disagree with, but pretty privilege is a thing. And people might think, oh, well, it's all great if you have the traits that your culture says are beautiful or amazing, but you get beat down for those things also. And it's you get bullied. You get bullied. So my thing is, if you're treating people with respect, kindness, you are humble, you are nice, then it's not okay to in turn be beaten down because of the way you look. If you're less attractive or more attractive, it doesn't, and also no matter what your culture is, we can acknowledge cultural differences, but that does not give anyone an excuse to mistreat or put down or disrespect anybody. Whether somebody is wealthy or poor, that doesn't mean that you treat those people in a less than manner because of that. I think we should all treat each other with compassion, with kindness, with respect, with dignity. It doesn't matter how you are judged on a scale of attractiveness to unattractiveness. Now, let's think about this. We all know people who are pretty privileged, who are beautiful, who have nasty, rotten, terrible attitudes. Could someone with pretty privilege develop narcissism easier than someone who is not? I think people with pretty privilege, on one hand, are humbled in a lot of instances because they're being mistreated for nothing, because I haven't done anything to you. You haven't gotten to know my personality. You're not considering my personality traits. You have just decided you hate me based on how I look. But then there are people who have been treated with pretty privilege, children. I'm going to put you in a million pageants. Oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. Everything is the outer, nothing is inner. So if they're being raised by narcissistic parents and I've got this beautiful child, or they deem them to be beautiful, even if society doesn't, and they have raised them with shallow, nothing but everything is about how you look. You're gorgeous and you're spoiled rotten. You're not disciplined at all because you are so beautiful. I remember this little 2-year-old told me, I'm too pretty to go out into the sun. And I'm like, how does a 2-year-old say something like that? So you can raise a kid in such a way that you create a narcissist. Or there's somebody who just leads with their looks and there's nothing else. There's no depth. There's no personality. Then we are getting into some narcissistic territory when it's all about looks. Think about this angle. There are some people with pretty privilege who have been mistreated to such a degree that they become paranoid, heightenedly sensitive. They might be braggadocious on one end. When I walk into the room, it's like this back-ended compliment to themselves. Like, I walk in the room and I'm so beautiful that people start picking on me. And when I walk into a store, people look at me or judge me immediately based on my looks, and they start mistreating me or giving me bad service. Some of that can be true, but when it's everybody's looking at me, that heightened sensitivity, narcissists have a heightened sensitivity to any type of criticism, or you're looking at me funny, or they're heightened to that kind of stuff. So somebody with pretty privilege can definitely develop some narcissistic tendencies. Either I am grandiose, I am better than everyone else, or I've been picked on so much and it's been pointed out that you're light skinned and you have quote unquote pretty hair, that they start developing a complex and a paranoia that where they're defensive. Who's going to pick on me? So there's a fine line. Is it narcissism or is it just extreme defensiveness because I've been picked on so much because of my pretty privilege? Haven't we ever known people who were so good looking and so handsome, but their attitude, their narcissistic traits were so terrible that they start becoming unattractive and not pretty at all? And you forget, hey, did I once think this person was attractive? And then there are people who are maybe initially you didn't think they were so pretty, but because they have such a beautiful, radiant personality, they start looking beautiful and handsome to you. So a big factor in beauty is your attitude. How do you treat people? Are you helpful? Do you do acts of service? Do you help people who are in need? Are you kind? Do you say nice words to people? Are you careful with not offending people based on their culture, or just because you want to lead with compassion because everybody is going through something. Everybody is stressed out. Well, maybe not everybody, but most people are. And a little bit of kindness goes a long way. So if you are privileged to have pretty privilege, it makes you even more beautiful when you are nice to people, when you are warm, when you are friendly, when you are respectful. So all of us can take a page from how can I be better? How can I be a better person? How can I treat people the way they should be treated, regardless of how they're treating people, regardless of cultural differences or socio and economic background? Let's treat people kindly. That can make you beautiful. Now, here's some controversial tips. If you are secretly hating people because you think they are beautiful, this day and age, there are so many things you can do to enhance your looks. And I'm not saying that you have to do plastic surgery or things like that. I'm not recommending that at all. But you can go to the dollar store and get makeup. There are people who will say, I shouldn't have to wear makeup. Okay, well, that is a choice. Sometimes we want to stay in a woe as me state of mind because we're benefiting from that as well. It gives us an excuse to stay stuck. It gives us a pity party. Not that we don't have any, shouldn't have compassion for people. And also, sometimes people may feel like they deserve to be picked on or looked at as less than, and they just don't understand that, you know what? Why don't we help ourselves in that situation to feel better if it's available? But controversially speaking, makeup is something that can enhance your looks. It can make you feel more confident. And I say, why not do it? I had a hairstylist that told me, you don't have to be gray if you don't want to. Some people want to be gray because the wisdom, or they see it as beautiful. Now it's trendy to have platinum hair. So you see younger people with platinum hair. So it's all in how you want to look. You can change your hair color. You don't have to be gray if you don't want to. You can wear makeup. You can do things to try to take care of your skin. You can look presentable. You know, if you're wearing holes in your shirt, you might not get as much attention as if you iron your shirt and wear nice, neat things and put on some earrings, or get a nice haircut, a trendy haircut if you're a guy, or buy a suit and a tie. There are things you can do to boost the way that you look. And I say that because it's not worth it to live your life going through your life with, I'm ugly, I'm unattractive, so now I'm going to beat down people who are attractive, or I'm going to talk about how I don't get privilege because of the way that I look. And yes, there is some truth, could be some truth to that, but what about your attitude? How are you living your life? You want to do things to live your life with confidence. What are your skills? What are your talents? Do you treat wait staff respectfully? Do you go out of your way to give good service or sucky service to people? How do you treat the world? How do you treat yourself? Work on your self-esteem and your confidence. I think that's important for all of us to do. So, yes, that is controversial to say, well, put on some makeup, comb your hair, put on some cute clothes. But that is the truth in some respects of the society that we live in. But narcissism can definitely play a role. It can bring out narcissistic tendencies where you're isolating people based on how they look, or we all feel a little something sometimes, right? If you're around a wealthy person, you may not know, okay, how do I act? How do I treat the person? I say lead with kindness. If you don't know anything else, just be nice to the person. You don't know what they're going through. That could be a game changer. Even if you are of a different culture than someone else, treat them nicely, treat them with respect. That can go a long way. Be sensitive to cultural biases and not treating people with stereotypes like, oh my gosh, I should run from that person because that person could save your life one day. So lead with respect and kindness, and let me know if you think people with pretty privilege are more prone to narcissism, or people who feel like they do not have pretty privilege and they're super angry about it. Are they more prone to narcissism? Make sure you like the video. Let me know in the comments if there's something that you want me to talk about. And also, I try to release a video every week just to help you to grow and learn and protect yourself. Check out my book, The Workplace NaRCISSiST, to get insight on narcissism and how you can handle it better. I wrote a relationship book, Flip the Script on Love, to try to help you with relationships. So these are things that I sacrificed. It was super difficult to do, but I want to help people in positive ways, and that was one way that I'm doing it. So thank you so much for the time you've given me today. I really, really appreciate it. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye, beautiful people. And you're all beautiful to me. Bye.